Yeah, my name is Maurice. This question is for Walter Block. First, I just want to ask you, when you talk about like the Libertarian Nuremberg trial, like what kind of examples of government people are the ones that would be kind of like trial or seen as criminals? Like, for example, people who are in the military, do they qualify as some of these people who are, somewhat part of the state and they're sort of criminals? I mean, does that qualify? I just want to ask that and then make a question. Is that true? You can just say yes. People in the military are part of this.
Absolutely.
Okay, right. Okay, good. So basically, that means that the people who are so-called criminals and support the state and do all these bad things are really just people who didn't have the luck of stumbling upon an understanding of libertarianism. Because, I mean, had you not been born in New York, and been around that day when you got in the gathering with all these people and somebody told you to read economics in one lesson and you were a big-time leftist, you would have had these ideas and you would have supported the state and you would have been a criminal. And this really gets to the heart of what is our problem. Is the problem that we have that the government is really a gang of thieves writ large, and you have all these people that are criminals and they're supporting it and they're really like evil and out there to rob us and do all these things? Or it's simply the result of human action, but not of conscious human planning or design, that the government, just like the law and money, is simply an evolutionary growth for which no one is to blame in reality. And ultimately what we're battling is not necessarily evil, but economic ignorance. And I am reminded, for example, when Hayek gave a speech, in praise of Leonard Reed, and he clearly said, I believe that what the Foundation for Economic Education, with Leonard Reed at its head, and all its co-fighters and friends are committed to is nothing more nor less than the defense of our civilization against intellectual error. So, I'm just saying, again, this really gets down to the heart of the libertarian message. Are we fighting evil? And are the people in the military really evil? Should they be punished by some great libertarian code of ethics when really they have no clue what it is they're doing and they have good intentions? Is that really what you're advocating? Or is it really more just massive economic ignorance of the evolution of a process that no one really understands, obviously? So,
George is a Hayekian, right?
yes. And a Rothbardian as well.
It's hard to be both.
Yeah.
I have an article attacking Hayek, and Milton Friedman and I got into it on that. So if you're interested in that, email me. Just say Hayek. It's sort of like a red flag for the bull. Look, I think it's certainly ignorance, but there is such a thing called mens rea. Showing him up. My Latin.
Give more Latin phrases.
Right. Mens rea means purposeful guilt, whereas most people are just invincibly ignorant. They love the minimum wage because the minimum wage is going to raise wages for everybody. They don't realize it's going to unemploy people. I think it's both. Ex post facto, yes, it's economic ignorance and illiteracy, whatever. But when I say punished, I don't mean guillotine or anything. It could be a $5 fine or just you're a rotten kid or something. My wife and daughter are a bunch of pinkos. I don't want them to go to jail, but they're a bunch of pinkos. My son happily is a libertarian, so I'm 1 out of 3. My wife threatens to out me and say, well, I've been with him 45 years and he hasn't converted me yet, so I'm not going to be able to convert anyone ever. But when I say punishment, it doesn't mean draconian punishment. Look, if I hit your car by accident, it's a tort. If I ran my car into your car or you purposefully, I'm much worse than that. I would say it's sort of like a tort. It's a minor punishment, but we have to acknowledge that the government, from the ANCAP point of view, is an illegitimate organization. And what do we have to say about people who are in it and not trying to undermine it? We have to say something critical. We can't say, well, it's just ignorance, we forgive you. We have to say, you don't get a gold star, or you don't get a brownie point, or you have to pay a $5 fine, or something. We have to say something. We just can't let them go scot-free because they are supplying a murderous, illegitimate institution.
Can I reply to that?
Yes.
Well, I think that they should not be punished. That's how I see it. It's just massive ignorance. And in many ways, as much as I hate the state, because I am a Rothbardian, I'd like to privatize everything, the state got us to where we are. I hate to say it, but the state is an evolutionary thing that has existed for all mankind. Okay, as much as I hate militaries and all that stuff, If we go back a million years, we had a state. We had a bunch of monkeys running around getting together for offense and defense. The state has been part of humanity, just like law, just like religion. So again, I hate the state, and I understand freedom, how we can have private governance, and we can make it much more efficient, and so on. But we, as much as I hate the state, I have to admit the fact that it's part of human nature, and it got us to where we are. I mean, it sucks, but it got us to where we are. And again, I don't feel like those people in the military are criminals at all, and all these ignorant government people. And I believe that there is some kind of like legal, and maybe you guys can say it in like Latin or whatever, there is something that, that you have to know, that you're kind of breaking the law in order for you to be guilty in some way.
That's the mens rea.
Okay, well, exactly. So most of these people, they obviously have no clue. All these people in the government, they haven't stumbled upon Mises. I mean, I think if Mises were here, he'd get, I mean, I just think it's morally wrong to make criminals out of these people when they didn't have the luck to stumble upon this idea. So I think that is a big mistake to find them at all, even if it's just $5.
We have a lot of questions.
He's got an answer.
Go ahead.
Got a comment.
Dr. Buck.
We're going to have an ex post facto law against wearing a blue shirt. Just watch out. More seriously, you say the state got us where we are. I say no. We got there in spite of the state.
Oh, no, I agree with that.
The state was kicking and screaming and not letting us get where we got. We got there overcoming them. Not you said we got there because of them.
No, I agree with that as well.
Okay. The other point is the Coast Guard isn't so bad. The guys in the Coast Guard, that's the military. They're not so bad. They're not killing any. But what about those people dropping bombs here, there, and everywhere in Afghanistan and Vietnam and everywhere else? Those are bad guys. Those aren't just getting a little slap on the wrist. You drop bombs. What's his name? Muhammad Ali said, "No Vietnamese ever called me the N-word. Therefore, I'm not going to fight him." And he went to jail and he lost his championship of boxing. The man is a hero. But how about all those guys that went to Vietnam and started shooting people who never did us anything? I mean, they're 10,000 miles away. What the hell were we doing there? Well, more than a slap on the wrist for them, less for the Coast Guard, less for working as a librarian or whatever, but something. I mean, otherwise you're not acknowledging that they're evil.
Well, I understand what Professor Block's saying about degrees of severity, but I do agree with Jorge. But Jorge, you were the one who went to Facebook and said you were looking forward tonight to my totally clueless economic arguments, right?
The economic piece.
Yeah. Professor Block said I understand the market, so I'm putting that shit on my resume. Thank you.
Okay, next question's from Dan.